Hello everyone and welcome back to the next video. So in today's video we're going to be talking about the Gambler class, which is my favorite in this book. It's the one that actually has just been played the most. It's the one that's been edited the most and worked on the most, and I really appreciate this class. I really love all the work I've put into it, and I love that other people also have enjoyed it when they've read through it. So gamblers are a support spellcaster, similar to bards. How bards would increase people's to hits with or to increase their skills, a gambler is specifically meant to increase their allies' damage output. So a gambler would work really well with classes like a fighter or barbarian. Rogues not so much, because it's just more damage they can add with their sneak attack. But with fighters and barbarians, because they attack a lot, and barbarians have that brutal critical, it can really get out of hand pretty quickly. But that's what they work the best with, is making the marshals deal more damage. So let's go ahead and get right into it. For a quick build, you're going to want to follow these. You want to make dexterity your highest, followed by your charisma. Charisma is going to be your spellcasting skill, so you're going to want that. And dexterity is generally useful if you want to also be up close in order to enchant your allies' things. So you use a d8 for your hit dice, like other things. Your proficiencies that you have are light armor, light weapons, throwing weapons, simple weapons, and quarterstaves. You are proficient in cards, in the card games. Your saving throws that you're proficient in is dexterity and charisma. And you can choose 2 skills from Arcana, Athletics, Insight, Deception, Investigation, and Perception, and you automatically will have Sleight of Hand. For your starting equipment, you can choose to have a short sword or a quarterstaff. For the first one, the second one is a light weapon or 10 darts. Then you get leather armor, a deck of cards, and an arcane focus. Or if you choose to go with starting gold, you would start with 5d4 times 10 pieces. So let's get this started. So a gambler is a full caster, so they have the 9th level spell slots, and their progression works pretty much the exact same way Bard does. They have spells known, so you have to keep track of the amount of spells that you know. So it's on the class sheet. You start with 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes up by 1. Once you hit 9, it's 12, but then it goes to 10, it goes to 14, so it jumps by 2, and 15, 15, 16, 18, 19, 19, 20, 22, 22, 22. So by 20th level, you're going to have a max of 22 known spells. Your subclass spells don't count towards those. So let's go ahead and get started. Level 1. You get spellcasting, dealer specialty, and enchant. Spellcasting, everyone knows. As a gambler, your spellcasting skill is charisma, and in addition, as a gambler, you can change out what spells you know whenever you level up. So it's not over a long rest, you get to change. It's whenever you level up, you can change what spells that you know. The next thing that gamblers get is dealer specialty, which is your subclass. The subclass options you have are calling card, calling card is a subclass you specifically need a deck of cards for, like an actual deck of cards. Because the calling card one is you're playing a game of poker during combat, and depending on which hands you're able to play and manipulate, can depend on different additions you can add or different effects you can apply onto creatures. So you have to be smart when you're playing. You have to keep track of what you have. There's also the dark card, which is a more corrupt gambler, and they get access to black magic, which was our Halloween video we talked about. Next up is the life card. The life card is a sacrificial healer. I guess I can put it that way. They get access to healing spells with their subclass, and they are able to sacrifice some of their own life to heal someone else up. And that feature gets better, so they can sacrifice less and less to heal more and more, but they are sacrificing their own life. After that, we have the Psi Shuffler, which is a psychic gambler, and they use their psychic powers to have their deck. So you don't actually need cards for this one, but they have what's known as their deck, and there's an amount of cards that they constantly can use for different effects. There's the raw card, which uses it's more of a chaotic one and uses raw magic, and the wild card, which is pretty kind of a basic one. The wild card essentially allows you to, as a bonus action, to just have something random happen, but the wild card is the only one that is able to enchant a spell, because usually your enchant, we're about to get to that, only works on weapons. With the raw card, you can enchant, with the wild card subclass, you can enchant a spell, but you can't control when you do so. You're going to get features for the dealer specialty at 1st, 5th, 9th, and 17th level. The last thing for 1st level is enchant. So, as an action, you can touch an item to enchant it. And when you enchant an item, you roll a d10. So 1 is fire, 2 is cold, 3 is acid, 4 is poison, 5 is force, 6 is lightning, 7 is thunder, 8 is psychic, 9 is radiant, 10 is necrotic. So this is one of the few ways you can get radiant damage if you roll a 9 on this. An enchant only lasts for 1 minute, or until the enchanted weapon lands a successful hit. On a successful hit, you can add 1d6 of that element type of damage to the total damage. And this damage dice, as 1d6, increases as you level up at the same rate as cantrips do. So it increases at 5th level, 11th level, and 17th level to 2d6, 3d6, and 4d6. You cannot use your enchant feature on an item that is already enchanted by this class feature, but magic items and magic weapons can still be enchanted. So if someone had a flame tongue, that flame tongue could still be enchanted. So it is nice. It's a little finicky, also kind of a short feature, but it's kind of the core of this class is enchanting. Using an action to do this. This does get faster. Actually, matter of fact, we can jump right to that. At level 2, you get the enchantment action and sleight hands. Starting at level 2, with enchant action, you can now use your enchant ability as a bonus action instead of an action. So it's just a one more level gap to be able to do this a little bit faster. So you can also use your own action to cast the spells that you have. Then with sleight hands, you gain expertise and sleight of hand. And if you are ever working with cards to roll sleight of hand, you always get to roll with advantage if you're working with cards. Now, like I said earlier with the calling card, how they play a game of poker, you cannot use your sleight hands to manipulate your poker hand with the calling card subclass, because that hand is specific and it actually is on the table. You're not allowed to manipulate that because it's magically the way it is a magical deck that will always give you a random card. So that way you can't just cheat and get the thing is, and it's recommended that the dungeon master would probably shuffle it before an initiative. At level 3, you get diversion. Starting at 3rd level, you can distract one target from their focus for 1 round with a charisma save from your target. So essentially you choose a target within range, and they have to make a charisma save against your spell save. On a fail, they're going to have disadvantage on all attacks and skill checks for their next turn. In addition, if a creature is concentrating on a spell and fails this, they drop concentration. So this is also another really good thing to use if you're fighting a spellcaster who has a great concentration check, but not very good charisma. You can try to distract them, and they have to make a charisma save instead of a constitution save for concentrating on a spell. You can only use this feature once, and you regain that use after a long rest. So you do got to use your diversion carefully. At 4th level, you get an ability score improvement and daily enchanter. Starting at 4th level, once per day, you can set an enchantment that will last an entire day. So instead of lasting a minute, it'll last a whole day, and it does not end after landing a hit. You only gain one of these that can last an entire day, and you gain a second one at level 15. So it's a long investment before you can start doing 2 people's weapons being enchanted at the same time for a whole day. The enchantment damage doesn't lower. This is just one that lasts the whole day, so you're not spending every turn to increase one attack by a little bit. Then everyone knows ability score improvement. Level 5, you get a dealer specialty feature, which we'll skip over. And you also get bets. Starting at 5th level, you gain access to gambler bets. You can choose an amount equal for your appropriate level, 1 at 5th, 2 at 10th, 3 at 15th, and 4 at 20th. The bets will appear at the end of the class description, which I'm going to go over a few. Essentially, kind of picture bets as like warlock invocations. Just little things that you can choose to customize your character a little more. At level 6, we have copy spells, which starting at 6th level, you can take spells from other classes. These spells do not count against your spell list or your known spells, and you can do this an amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So by this point, you would have 3 spells you can take from any other spell list that don't count towards your known spells. So it's a very useful thing, kind of similar to the Bard's Magical Secrets. I think it actually works pretty much almost the exact same, but I believe it's less than they get. But it still is quite good, and they get it a little earlier than Bards do, but I felt like it was a little bit fitting, because the majority of their stuff, majority of the gambler spells is very heavily support-based and randomness-based. At level 7, there's nothing. At level 8, ability score improvement. At level 9 is a dealer specialty feature. Then at level 10, we have Gambit. Starting at 10th level, when your HP hits 0, you choose one of the following to happen. You can use this feature once and must finish a long rest before you can use it again. The following things you can choose from is you gain 1 successful death save, but also 1 failed death save. You're reduced to 1 hit point, but gain a point of exhaustion. And the next time you are healed, you recover the maximum hit points possible from that source of healing. But next time you get hit while unconscious, you take double damage from that attack. So it's a very risk-reward options. Starting at 15th level with this, you can now choose to take the positive benefit instead of the negative alongside of it. So you can just choose to get a successful death save, be reduced to 1 hit point, or make it so next time you're healed, you recover maximum hit points possible. And then at 20th level, you can choose to take 2 effects instead of 1, taking both the positive effects, but you have to take one of the 2 negative effects from the 2 options that you chose. So you either be reduced to 1 instead of 0, and next time you're healed maximum possible, you get both of those. But then you'd have to either get a point of exhaustion, or next time you take damage, it's doubled. If it was me, I'd probably take a point of exhaustion, because at one point it's not too bad. Then, onto level 11, we get the Deck of Elements. Starting at 11th level, you gain a special deck of cards. Each card is pre-enchanted, and they're always enchanted. You can use these cards as a quick throwable enchant. So essentially, they have a dart and damage dice, so it's a d4. But since they're already enchanted, you would roll randomly. So you'd roll a d10 for which element you're throwing, you throw that, and you deal the appropriate enchanted damage. Or you can also choose to spend an action to search through the cards to choose a certain element. Using this certain element, you can choose to enchant. So essentially, you can use your enchant feature. So instead of just choosing one, and then you can use that one for the dart, no, you can choose out a card from it of your choice, and then you can use that card to enchant a weapon that you want to do enchant. So you can spend time to do a specific enchant, or you can just do it as a bonus action and get a random one. But if you're trying to fight like a dragon and you don't want to risk getting that fire, you can search out, pull out Psychic, because Psychic is rare to be resistant against, or even Radiant or Force, because those are 3 really rare resistance and immunities. Starting at 12th level, you get an ability score improvement. At 13th is nothing. At 14th is the Sly Hands Master. Starting at 14th level, your sleight of hand bonus increases again. So you can now add your proficiency bonus again to your sleight of hand on top of your expertise. So you're adding your proficiency bonus 3 times into your sleight of hand bonus. These guys are literally hand magicians. They do these magic things in front of you. They are making it so you cannot tell what they are doing. So by this point, I believe their proficiency bonus 14th level would be +5. So it's a +15 just with your proficiency bonus. And so your dex is also, let's go with 18 for this, so another +4. So it's +19 to your sleight of hand. Essentially, these guys rarely ever fail their sleight of hand checks. They get really good at the high levels. Starting at 15th level, you get improved gambit, which we discussed earlier, with the increasing that you can now take the positive and you can ignore the negative effect of your gambit feature. At 16th level, you get an ability score improvement. 17th is a dealer specialty feature. At level 18, you get Master of Diversion. Starting at 18th level, when you use your Diversion feature, you can now choose to distract 1d4 plus 1 amount of targets in one single distracting action. You can use this ability once and regain the use after a long rest. So you get a single diversion once, and then you get this multiple diversion thing once. You get each of them once. So it's really useful for fighting a bunch of guys. You got a bunch of little guys you want to have stop hitting you for a round, quick Master of Diversion against all of them, and each of them gets to do their thing. 19th level is ability score improvement. At 20th level, we get their final feature. We get the Final Gambit and Twisting Fate. Starting at 20th level, with the Twisting Fate, we already says Final Gambit. You get to choose 2 and choose only 1 negative. Starting at 20th level, you can choose to push one effect of magic, a card, or a spell onto someone else that you can see. You can only use this ability once and regain that use after finishing a long rest. So, with the wild card, not every effect on it is always good for you. There is, as you get higher level, if you ever pull a star, pulling a star, if you want to use it on yourself, can hurt you. But in this case, you could also Twisting Fate and have it hurt someone else, but that's also kind of a waste for a one-use 20th level thing. This also affects a spell. If you're fighting a spellcaster and they cast Power Word Kill on you, you can use this feature and have it affect them instead. It's a very powerful feature because the range is someone you can see, not just someone within 60 feet. If you can see them, they take the effect instead of you. Say this monster is casting a high level magic missile on you specifically. Well, even if they split it up, the ones that's affecting you, you can change it so they can essentially you can have a creature hit themselves with their own spell or magical ability. So a few bets we're gonna go over real quick. Bets are very similar to invocations, as I said, but this is going to be. Let's just go over a few of them. So the first one, so we've got a few of them on here. We've got risk, which an amount of times equal to the bets you have, you can re-roll a roll once per roll, but you must go with the new roll. So it's almost like lucky, but instead of choosing the higher one, you must go with the new one. So you could get worse. Essentially just a quick re-roll. You get an amount equal to your bets. So you'd have a total of 4, unless you want to get a feat that gives you a 5th one. That can also work. Another one we have is Forceful Enchant, which each time an enchanted strike originated from your enchant lands, the one who got hit gets pushed 10 feet. There's Precision Enchant, which allows you to add your Charisma modifier to the elemental damage. There's one called Cheater, which allows you have no need to roll when you're working with cards, though you have advantage and a lot of bonuses with it. You really don't need this, but if you really want to make it so like I don't have to roll, you can. It's an option. You get a total of 4, so you can totally choose this. There is one of my favorites called Questionable Luck, which is whenever you roll a natural 20 on any check or attack, the next roll made for anything has advantage. But whenever you roll a natural 1 on any check or attack, the next roll made for anything has disadvantage. So it's one of my favorites. My gambler character uses this one because it's just fun. Just cause it's fun. We also have Cheater Dice, which is essentially the Divination Wizard feature, but they only get 1. They don't get any more. There's sorry, I have a whole list here, but I don't want to go over every single one. We got that was for calling card only. Nosebleed. Attacks that you deal can become a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. However, any roll lower than a 5 becomes a critical failure. So if you have problems with critical failures in their games, or people are playing with rules that say critical failures are worse than they are, you probably don't want to take that. But otherwise, if you're rolling lower than a 5, you're probably not going to hit anyways. Probably, unless you're fighting something with an armor class of like 9, which they exist. We also have Fixed Odds, You have refined your chosen skills until they approach perfection. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat any d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. That one you have to be at least a 13th level gambler in order to use. And this last one we're going to go with is going to be Curse. As an action, you can choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you, cursing it until the end of your next turn. The next time you or an ally of yours hits the cursed creature with an attack, the creature has vulnerability to all of that attack's damage, and then the curse ends. You can use this feature once and must finish a long rest before you can do so again. So it's very similar to the Grave Domain Cleric Path to the Grave. Actually, it's pretty much the exact same thing. But instead of using a Channel Divinity, it's a once. You can do this once. Is it a Channel Divinity there? I think it is. I don't play Grave Clerics enough, so that should be pretty much it for the Gambler. They got a lot of customization in their bets, and your bets, I didn't mention this before, you can switch your bets around. Whenever you level up, you can switch which bets you have available. But that should do it for the Gambler. They are, in my opinion, they're a lot of fun to play because they're a fun support class, but also you can enchant your own weapons, and you can also be up on the front battlefield. I mean, my Gambler that I play, I'm a bit of a power gamer, so I have a character. My Gambler that I play is very kind of frontline with powerful magic weapons. But yeah, we're not going to go too much into that. But essentially, you can play a Gambler however you want, because it's all about kind of fun. You can play frontline if you want, because you can enchant your own weapon instead, but you don't get the extra attacks. You only have the one. But it's still, I think, a very fun class. A lot of different options you can do here, and I said this in the last video. Some random people I've not met before when we were talking on the internet, and I shared this for approval for what people thought of it. Some random people on there were saying, one person said, "This looks really good. I'm gonna play this class in my next game if that's okay." I said it was okay as long as their DM approved it. I haven't heard anything about it since, but I think it's sweet that when I was like, "Hey, people, how does this class look?" and people were like, "I want to play this. This looks like a lot of fun." It's a fun class, and it probably is that way because this was the first class I made, and it has changed so much to actually balance a lot because I've played this class. They're level 20 now. He's Yeah, I played this class all the way through from level 1 to level 20, and I've played this over the past 3-4 years of just playing with this character and playing with the class and messing with it, and it's honestly my favorite. And my next favorite class in this book isn't the next one, though the next one is pretty funny. My next favorite class in this book would probably have to be Weaver. Weaver is really fun because it's a unique spellcaster, but enough of that. The next video that we have coming up is going to be the Magical Girl class. Oh yeah, we're going for one of the funny ones, and then I think after that is another very funny one. So the Magical Girl will be interesting, to say the least. Just know that not all of these classes are meant to be perfectly balanced, because Magical Girl is on the higher spectrum of being powerful, and the class after that, which is the joke character, it's entirely meant to be funny. I would not recommend playing a joke character for a long-term campaign, because I went through them like 2 or 3 times making the class, and like, this is mainly just to be funny. Your whole point is to change people's roles around to mess with the party. Your whole point is you want to play a joke character for like a one shot or for like a short campaign just to mess with everything because it's funny. But all right, that's not our next video. Next video is Magical Girl, and then after that will be the joke character. So we have the two kind of really funny classes, but we'll have to see how well they go. I am excited for whatever's coming next, and I'm excited for this book. It's getting really good at this point. I'm working on some last bits of creature lore and getting some art for things, and I'm thinking about adding more races because of course I am, because I have a lot more races now in the works for other things that I might just toss in with this as well. But we'll see how it goes. It's a lot at the moment. Still 530 pages, roughly, but I'm working on separate documents on other things to add into this larger document. I'm I'm kind of hoping. I mean, it's entirely possible. By the time I'm done with all of this, it's entirely possible that we could get approaching to like 700 pages. If we get that far, I will be impressed with myself, especially since at the moment of this recording and this video posting, I've worked on this book for only about over a year. So this is really impressive, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. And I hope that the word can spread around about this book, that I'm able to actually sell it. Anyway, enough of me just ranting on for the past like 5-10 minutes about randomness. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and to spread the word about these videos, because I do want to actually get the chance to be able to sell this book.